cold in here today. Alrighty then, Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 1037. Different ways of writing. I'm talking about environment and motivation, not necessarily typing or dictating or any other manner of getting your story into digital form so then you can manipulate it and do what you need to do with it. So first and foremost, voice memos and dictating. Got my cool Apple Watch here, and I have the voice memo thing on here, so I can click it and take a note to myself, and I did. I noticed that I had put a note on there last week for a 5-minute focus episode. So voice memos and then dictating. You can use your phone to dictate and capture your thoughts that way for a novel. Sure, they'll need to be edited, but you can do that after you have the words. So getting those words. What about short sprints? 5-minute sprints. How does your brain work? Only you know that. And short sprints might be better for you. 5 minutes. And then you let them flow over if you're in the zone, if you're flowing. But if you're not, end at 5 minutes. Force yourself at least 5 minutes and train yourself to write jam hard for 5 minutes. Because if you can type fast, that's 250 words in 5 minutes. That's pretty good production. What about longer sprints? Can you stay there? 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? 30 minutes, that's about the outside for a sprint. I know people do longer, but in 30 minutes, I can't do 30 minutes. I can barely do 20. So 10 is my usual most that I do. But in that 10 minutes, I can get 300 to 500 words when I'm really in the zone and cranking. But getting those words in those sprints. Now, it's got to be quiet. There's got to be, I've got to be in my good chair and jamming away. So isolation, once again, environment plays a role in the getting the words that also go to motivation. You can't get 300 to 500 words in 10 minutes if you don't know what you're going to type. You just sit there and stare at a blank screen. That doesn't help you. That doesn't help anybody. So you got to know what you're going to write. So motivation, I've got to get this story done. I've got to get the scene done. I have to get this transition done. Whatever part of the story you're on, you commit to it, get yourself into that environment that you can get those words, and then go to town. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever your brain will allow you to do. Me, 10 minutes, that's it. That's the max I can do. So isolation is important for my environment and sitting in my good chair. This chair is really good. And then I've got a footrest thing under my desk here, and I've got the big screen right in front of me here, and a ergonomic keyboard there to make it work, just so that works for me right here. Yes, I type out on the couch because Stanley will go out there, and yes, he's back there, but he's all curled up in the mink blanket, and you can't see him. So his environment is about perfect, except it's a little cold in here. So then we go to negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement, or straight punishment. How do you reward yourself when you get those words? You did 5 minutes of a sprint. You got 100 words. You got 300 words, whatever you got. How do you reward yourself? Do you take a break? Do you get up and walk around, which is good for blood flow, good for brain work? Or did you jump on Facebook and doom scroll for 30 minutes and then jump back on for 5 minutes? I suggest that might be not exactly positive reinforcement. So how do you reinforce you? Decide. Are you going to take a drink from your coffee, clear your mind, check your finances, and then get back to it? Checking those finances, that's some negative reinforcement, because if those numbers aren't where you think they should be, then guess what? You got to write that book, sell that book. I put that cup down before I start talking with my hands and splash everything all over my keyboard and buy yet another keyboard. I think I'm on my 10th keyboard in 10 years. So probably not too bad, but I go through a lot of keyboards. So punishment. How do you punish yourself when you do work or you don't do work? Punishment stops behavior. So if you punish yourself for a 5-minute sprint and you didn't get the words, you're actually stopping the behavior of writing. You're not stopping the behavior of not writing. You can't stop something that you didn't do, right? So be very, very careful with punishing yourself, berating yourself, giving yourself any extra grief, going out and saying, I got to give up writing. I can't because I'm horrible at it. Well, that's a lot of punishment there for just trying to get some words. Did you know what you were going to write? Did you set yourself up for success? And that is also what writing is about. You can't just sit there, look at a blank screen and say, I have to write the next great American novel. I got to get that. What? What's the topic? What's the genre? What's the story? Who's the protagonist? Who are the protagonist's friends? What's that backbone? There's so much to go into it. Get that straight first, and then sit down and then talk about rewarding yourself, some positive reinforcement for getting that work done. And then word count. I'm big on this. Do you need 500 words at a pop? Can you track that way? Or what about a daily count? I keep track daily, and then it gives me an average of how many words I do every day on a certain book, and then a total number of days I've committed to that book. Easy stuff, little Excel spreadsheet tracker, but I track my every day. I put in the words. So some days it's 100, some days it's 5,000, but I track it. For some folks, it's better to track weekly. Get 5,000 words a week. You don't have to get 2,000 words a day. Track, because that's something else that you can reinforce that, good. Now I can go get myself a Mocha Java because I've gotten my 10,000 words this week. A reward that isn't over the top. Like every 5 minutes I complete a sprint, I'm going to have a big cup of coffee. Relax. You probably don't want to do that to your body either. Just like sitting down all day. You need to get up and walk around. So word count daily, maybe weekly average is better for you if Monday through Friday are just out because you're working, you got the kids, so much going on. You might get a few words here and there, but you don't hold yourself to it daily, because that once again, that comes back to negative reinforcement, which is a motivator of sorts, but then it turns into punishment, and now it stops that behavior. You're not writing because you punish yourself for writing or not writing. Don't punish yourself for something you don't do. Get the words. Reward yourself for doing it. So weekly count. Don't set extreme goals. Set achievable goals. It's really important when you're working. Achievable goals. If you set this great American novel and you have no idea what you're going to write, you're not going to achieve that. You're going to stare at a blank screen and you're going to be miserable, and you're going to punish yourself until you say, well, I guess I can't write. Well, you don't write. You can't write if you don't know what you're going to say. So know what you're going to do. Know that transition, know the scene, know the action sequence, know the characters, build them up, do all the good stuff that makes books great, because the readers, they'll keep coming back. Holy cow, 5 minutes. No, this looks like more like an 8-minute focus. So we'll wrap it there, but think about different ways of writing, but reinforcement of your writing, your environment, and then your motivation. Get all those aligned, and you'll be amazed at what you'll be able to accomplish. Peace, fellow humans.